What's up, everybody? It's Alex Yu, and you're watching the Ragin Ronin review. The summer blockbuster movie season has finally began, and it's starting off early with Fast 5. Now, this is my favorite time of the year, and it usually starts at around like the middle of May all the way to the middle of August. So we're just treated to 12 weeks of blockbuster movies. With the exception of Valentine's Day, this is my favorite time of the year because a brother gotta get some, you know what I'm saying? I'm just kidding about that. What I said earlier. So it starts out with Fast 5, and I'm just gonna list a couple of movies that I want to watch this summer. There are a couple of smaller ones, but I'm not gonna list those. I'm only gonna list the mainstream ones. Maybe this video will help remind you what's coming out this summer. The first week of May 6th, we got Thor, which is gonna be released in 2D and 3D and IMAX 3D theaters. And then we have a movie called Priest. Now, I don't know what this movie is really about. I've never even heard of it. It seems like it could be based off a comic book, but I think it's based off a graphic novel, and it's coming in 3D. That comes out on the 13th. Pirates of the Caribbean on Stranger Tides, the next Jerry Bruckheimer outing, will be out on IMAX 3D on May 20th. We also got The Hangover 2 on May 26th, and it ends the movies that are coming out in the month of May. Now for June, we have X-Men First Class coming out on the 3rd of June, and then on the 10th we got Super 8 coming out on IMAX, and then on the 17th we have Green Lantern coming out in 3D. So you definitely want to check that out in 3D. I'm gonna check all the movies out that are available in 3D just because I'm one of the few people who actually are neutral to liking 3D. I think that it can provide us with a better viewing experience, right, if you can watch 3D. Of course, in July 1st, obviously, we got Transformers Dark of the Moon. I'm most likely going to check that out in 3D on the first time I watch it, and IMAX 3D later on, because IMAX 3D is actually quite a drive out for me to go out there. Captain America comes out on the 22nd of July. Now, there's a big gap between Transformers Dark of the Moon and Captain America. That's a good 3 weeks, which is fine because I know I'm going to be checking out Transformers Dark of the Moon 2 weekends in a row. Captain America is also in 3D. On the 29th, we got Daniel Craig, Harrison Ford, Olivia Wilde in the Jon Favreau adaptation of the comic book Cowboys and Aliens. It looks pretty cool. I gotta admit that I'm definitely looking forward to this one, even though I know nothing about the comic book. Now it comes to our final month, which is August, and we got the prequel to Planet of the Apes, which is starring James Franco, Rise of the Planet of the Apes. Originally it was titled Caesar, but I think that, you know, people would get confused because, you know, they think it'd be about some salad dressing dude. Next we got Conan in 3D and Fright Night in 3D. Both movies are post-converted in 3D. I want to watch Conan just because I'm curious about it. I know a guy who was a PA on set of Conan, and he's actually good friends with Marcus Nispel, the director. So, and he kept on talking about Conan, so I was thinking that, yeah, I should check that out to support him. Also, Fright Night's coming on the same night. You know which one I'm looking forward more to? I'm looking more forward to Fright Night, because it sounds like it would be a fun comedy. It's a horror comedy with, I think they're vampires. Yeah, it's a remake of the old 80s movie of the same name. I'm pretty sure it will be funny. I don't watch a whole lot of horror movies. In fact, I never watch horror movies, but a horror comedy is okay because it's more about the comedy than as it is about the horror, so I'm okay with that. Oh yeah, by the way, don't you hate it when there's two movies to watch on the same night, you know, on the same weekend? I hate it when that happens, and you just gotta decide, and then, you know, if you watch one, you might not end up watching the other, especially during the summer, because there's so many different movies that are coming out every weekend. So if you watch one, you just feel like, oh man, I gotta catch up with my other movies. Well, it depends on how much of a movie buff you are, right? Finally, the summer movie season ends with Apollo 18, which comes out on the, August 26th. Now that is a bit of a smaller movie. It's a lesser known movie, not a lot of people know about it. It's kind of like Paranormal Activity or the Blair Witch meets Apollo 13. Because they land on the moon and then there's aliens out there, but all of the footage is captured on home video, like security cameras. So it's a fictional piece, but you know, it makes us think, right? So anyways, those are the movies that I'm going to be watching this summer. What movies are you going to be watching? There's so many of them, but I know not everybody's a movie buff. Well, these are some big summer meat pulls. Excuse me! I meant tent poles. It's a big year for superheroes and comic book characters. So we got X-Men, Thor, Captain America, Green Lantern, Cowboys and Aliens, Transformers if you count that. Anyways, that's all I really have to say. It was really just an announcement to tell you what movies are coming out. So what are your top 3 picks? Obviously Transformers Dark of the Moon is on the very top of my list. I'm really looking forward to Thor. I'm gonna have to put that at number 2. And number 3, I would put X-Men First Class. So Transformers Dark of the Moon, Thor comes next, and then X-Men First Class, just because I really enjoyed Kick-Ass, and Matthew Vaughn directed Kick-Ass, and he also directed X-Men First Class. So I'm really curious to see how this is going to turn out. This is Alex Yu. Thank you for watching the Ragin' Ronin review. Peace. I found that number 4 didn't work for me. They didn't introduce anything new. They introduced new cars, but there's got to be a different type of element in it. Like, that's why the 3rd one worked for